fucking Tour de France. Let me introduce you. You guys seemed interested as we're in somewhere with now has traffic. I want to give you guys a rundown of what my actual herd of bikes looks like. I've got 3, and here's what I'm riding. So my mountain bike for cross country, then I'm riding as I'm not jumping a lot right now, so I wanted something that's got, you know, enough travel to be fun, but also built stout enough to handle my big ass riding on it and not something I have to worry about breaking. So I got a 2019 S-Works from Specialized, and this is their Epic Evo. So their Epic is their cross-country platform. Their Evo has a little bit more travel to it. So this is a 120 mil front and rear travel. Start from the front. It's got a Fox 34 fork with a through axle. It's on carbon wheels from Revolve, which is Specialized in-house component company. And they do their wheels, been really, really happy with them. XTR disc brakes. I switched over to a carbon race face bar that has a little bit of a rise. These came with kind of a flat bar, which isn't how I particularly like to ride. Fork has all the adjustments. I can lock it out. I can change dampening and all those type of things. Way more than I fully need to be capable of. Basically, these are all the components that came on it, other than what I changed in the cockpit with shorter stem and different handlebars. So other than that, we are XTR drivetrain, carbon cranks with a 1x12 system. I'm running a dropper post. Both the fork and the post are with the Kashima coat, which makes it gold and gives it a little bit more resiliency over time. Watch that dropper post, Brant. Watch this shit. Here she goes. Oh no, there she goes. If you get to a little bit more sketchy section, you can get the seat out of the way. And then when you get back to something like an uphill or a climb, you need to be able to sit, pop it back up. It's back where you want it. Seat's really nice, S-Works saddle, it's all carbon. This is a pretty lightweight bike. This bike's weighing in at like 24 and change. It's so much nicer than any bike I should be riding. And it's by far the nicest bike I've ever owned and or ridden. That is my main mountain bike. I will probably end up picking up something in the future with a little bit more travel, like something in the 160 range, 150, 160 range, so that I can do a little bit more downhill stuff as St. Louis is working on some things in Eureka Springs that should be some fun to ride on. But for now, this is my mountain bike and I love it. We'll get you on to now gravel bike. On to my second bike and newest is a 9er MCR called their Magic Carpet Ride. It is a full suspended gravel bike. I think they're the first company to pull it off, especially with an actual suspension fork. Some have done it with some different type of suspension like Lauf or a couple of other companies, but this seems to be a trend that's gonna keep going. I also just really dug the innovation on it as a bigger guy trying to get into a little bit more adventure riding and travel and stuff like that. This is something I can ride all day, and it doesn't beat me up nearly as bad as my traditional road bike. For gravel and trails and kind of like going camping or exploration or any of those type of things, I love this. Last year, I got to do this trip in Arizona and ride for 6 days, and this bike would have been borderline perfect for that. I'm looking forward to doing more of that in the future as I can kind of travel and do some bike packing and other things like that as I build endurance and I'm able to do more of it. This bike I really think will be perfect for it. I got a top tube bag that comes with it. I also have another frame bag that goes here that I can fill with things. So far, I've been really happy with it. It's a full carbon bike, it's full carbon wheels. There is 40 millimeters of travel front and rear. Both suspension can be locked out. Got a dropper post running here, and since it's a 1x, my front shifter handles dropper post duty. Stoked on that. And then I've got another lockout here that controls the rear shock. So as it normally sits in its default position, the rear shock is locked out. And then as you click it in, it becomes more squish. So making it a bit more comfortable. I also swapped out my handlebars to the P&W. They're wider bars. They make a 52 centimeter metric, whichever one. They're really, really fucking wide, as am I. So that makes sense. Other than that, I've been super stoked on it. The only thing I don't like about it is I wish it was lighter, but that's really not what the bike's for. It's just, I'm such a fucking bastard of a bike snob that if it can be lighter, it's worth making lighter. And there's a handful of places you could shave weight. Like I could go with some lighter cranks, I could do a lighter seat, lighter bars, lighter stem. A handful of places I could get rid of some weight, but that's again, not really what this bike was built for. This isn't my fast, burn into the miles rig. This is my all day, light trail, adventure exploring, comfortable, off-road adventure cruiser bike whip thing. It's great. I've been very, very happy with it. The guys at Niner helped me out. One of the things I'm really stoked on all my bikes, and it's a super fucking nerd touch, is one of my buddies made me these stickers, frame stickers. And so it's got my last name on it, and then it's got the pistols from HVIII brand, and it's also got 2 World Championship strikes. So the stripes for World Championships are a big deal in cycling, and since I have 2 of those in a much different arena, I figured we could stash them in there. Pretty cool. I run egg beater pedals, as those have been really nice. They're a little bit lighter weight, help with, you know, shoes that are all gummed up. You can kind of get into them pretty good. Other than that, I don't think I have anything terribly crazy going on. Do I have this guy in there, Brant? That's what State Bicycle Company calls a one-hitter made into a bar end plug. You could load that with your CBDs, if you will, you know, feel better on the trail. That's what I say. But overall, really great. It's running the GRX componentry. It's one buy again, and I have no complaints whatsoever about this bike and how it feels and how it rides. I've really loved it, and this is my first parlay into the gravel realm, and I can see this being something I end up doing a lot more of. I really, really like it. I like being away from cars and traffic and less chance of getting hit by a person on a fire road and a gravel trail and national forest, plus you're in nature. There's my gravel bike, Niner MCR, full carbon. Check it out. This is my actual road bike. It's a felt. I've had it for the longest of any of the bikes I currently own. So the only bike that made the move with me from Louisiana to St. Louis. I've had it for a long time. Really like this bike, but it has definitely made a switch now to where it's kind of living on the trainer and allowing me to do indoor riding as I'm training that way. Just really efficient to get what I want to get done as far as a training session done on the trainer, since it's so consistent that it's nice having this set up. I've recently busted it out and rode it around town, and it's a really nice bike. I think I will end up purchasing another nicer road bike in the future if I continue to enjoy doing that style riding around St. Louis. But this is currently what I'm riding. It is a full carbon felt 5.5, I think. Honestly, don't know. I swapped out handlebars to Easton carbon bars that have this big flat chunk for a little bit more comfortable riding, and then I swapped out my wheel set to these Mavic Cosmic Ceriums, or Cosmics, which are another carbon deep dish wheel. I really love the look of this, and this bike's coming in probably weighing 17 or 18 pounds. It's a lot of fun to ride, and it's been great for the indoor training that I've been doing. It's 105 componentry with a couple steps down from the top. It's kind of what I consider to be your first group of components that are gonna work really well. Like the next 2 steps of Ultegra and Durace, you shave some weight for a lot more money, but functionality wise, 105 is the workhorse of the Shimano drivetrain stuff for road bikes. I'd like to upgrade and get some disc brakes and stuff like that on the next bike, but this bike isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I think it'll be my trainer bike, and for the meantime, if I'm still riding road, that's what I'm gonna be on. It's a great bike, not much to say. It's pretty bare bones. It's got a Niner titanium saddle that came on the MCR, which is comfortable enough for this type of riding, but I don't want to be on for 3 or 4 hours at a time. Usually this bike for me is a 25 to 30 to 40 mile ride, and I'm pretty comfortable there at about 2.5 hours, whereas, you know, the mileage isn't so much different with the gravel bike as much as the time that I'm going to spend in the saddle. Since it's different terrain, I'm not going as fast, so, you know, 40 miles may end up taking, you know, 5 or 6 hours. So this has been one of my favorite bikes I've ever had. I really like it, and I don't see it leaving my arsenal of bikes anytime soon. There's my bikes. That's what I've got. I imagine I will continue to upgrade, and then as things are starting to come together at the new house, I'm gonna be really stoked to show you guys what the new setup in the basement as far as tools and storage and trainer setup, all that goes. So I hope that answers your questions about what bikes I have. Get out, ride, man. I can't express how good it has been for me having something to do that doesn't hurt my knee, something I can do and still push and get better at. It's a way different challenge than anything I've ever been used to as a heavy strength athlete, but I love it. I like being outside and I like self-propelled power, as running is never gonna work for a big guy. Bikes, it's like running. Fat people or me, and it doesn't hurt as bad. You go faster, no negatives. Thank you guys, spread hate, always party.